Hi folks, we got an issue on this Vauxhall Zafira B 2005. The heater's blowing out cold air even though the engine's warm. Let's see if we can try and suss out why that is. See you in a minute. We're just going to check a few things first of all, namely if we've got enough water in the car first of all, because if the water's low in the radiator then that could give us the same problem because the heater matrix inside is probably the highest level of the water system. So let's have a little look. Right, so here's our overflow expansion tank now, and looking at that the water is just below the top level there, which is probably okay. So we're going to leave that there so we can assume we've got no leaks anyway, so we're assuming that we've got full up system. Although, as I say, we could have an air leak, but there's been no drain down, so I'm not saying that's the problem. So, if I take you inside, so this is our heater controls here, and what you basically do, it's not like a cable operated as they used to be. This is just like a resistor, basically, a variable resistor. And on the back there, if you take that panel out, there's like electrical connections on there going to a control system, which we haven't found yet. So we don't know where that is, but all we do know is that this blower system works and the vents actually work, where it shifts the airflow from like down at the lower vents up to the windscreen. Show us that, Gary. So as you can hear, the blower using this one is on the screen at the moment and coming through the front vents. Now when you shift that, as you can probably hear the change there, it's now coming out of the different vents there. So it's not the actuator that directs the heat. That is the issue we've got, is the air coming out is not getting hot even though that is turned on the fully hot position. Now it could be this, I suppose, I don't know, we don't know how to check that, we haven't seen anything online, but what we're going to do, we're going to check the pipes going to and from the heater matrix, which actually lives in the glove compartment or behind the glove box, and what that means is we've got to take this out now. So let's get down and do that. We've got two screws at the top there which are Torx bits by the look at them, there's one there, T20s, they're T20s by the way, so we're just going to undo them first of all. As I say, we've had no dealings with this, we haven't seen any instructions on whatever, so very limited online about this issue, but we're just sort of feeling our way through it, as you may do if you have a look. But hopefully this video might help you out if you've got the same issue as us. Right, there's a cap down there. What's under there? Is there?
That should pull down now.
Right, there's some sort of plate down there. Hold on. Right, okay, put myself on the second one now. Just undo this. Hopefully this will drop down the glove box. Again, it's the same T20 bit. Right, okay, so hopefully this might pull straight out now. There you go. Happy days. You've got the light to take off the top there as well, don't forget. That just unclips that cable. You can get your glove box right out of the way. That's the fan motor. I'm looking for the pipes coming in from the matrix. What's this here?
That's the pollen filter box.
Oh, is it? Have you had that out before?
I haven't, not on this one, no.
Right, well, one of the other possible causes we looked online is to get the pollen filter out, which means unclipping that cover there. And as you can see, we're just going to pull that out and have a look at it. Oh, there you go. Let's have a little look at that. I mean, that's quite filthy actually, but whether or not it's enough to stop the heat, what we will do is start the car up now and just try and see without the pollen filter in whether we can get some heat coming through. So we're going to do that now. Right, we've just shut the door on that down there and blowing still out cold air, so obviously it ain't a restriction with the pollen filter, so we've got to carry on now and literally try and find the pipe work so we can find out whether the heater matrix is blocked or there's a problem there. Right, now I've taken the pollen filter right out of the way. If I actually open that right up, shine that in there a bit more, Gary. I don't know if you can see, but there's a couple of metal pipes just at the back there. And if you look close enough, you can see the heater matrix. Well, that is not the heater matrix, that is the matrix for the air conditioning. So don't be mistaken thinking that is the one for the hot water, because that's not the case. So we're going to have to look a bit further into this now. Right, so behind the bulkhead somewhere, in fact I think I can just see them down there. We're going to remove this top cover anyway, but I think we can see them down the back. If you can just see down in there, there's the 2 pipes coming out of the bulkhead. That's where we've got to gain access to and maybe disconnect, and hopefully removing this top cover will just give us a bit more light in there so we can see what we're doing. We'll pull that out of the way and you might be able to see a bit better then. Right, okay, so that's that out of the way. Can you see down in there? That's the pipe. See the 2 pipes coming out? That's the top and bottom pipe. The flow, I would imagine the feed would go in the bottom, as what normally happens, and the return will come out the top. So they should both be at least hot anyway. Right, so to make access a little bit easier so we can get behind there, because you can't get in there, we've got to take this front scuttle panel out as well. Involves just taking that rubber strip off, unclipping this. Does that pull out?
Wiper jets.
Wiper jets there. Is that one there maybe? That just pull off of there, isn't it? That comes through. That's it, just pull that off of there. Gets that out of the way. And then we've got to take this scuttle panel out, which again is Torx bits or a 10mm spanner. So that's what we're going to do now. So I think that hopefully there's only 2 of these, I'm not sure. Again, we're feeling our way through it with you. I think there was 2 at the back, but there's 1 missing here, so you can guarantee that you might.
I've got 1 in the back.
Yeah, my one's missing here, so this has been out before.
Yeah, got to come up.
Oh, there we go. And that comes out of there. There we go. So there we go. That's the 2 pipes in question. They're coming out of the bulkhead, and as I say, they're both warm. So what we need to do is first of all to disconnect these pipes here somehow, however they do. And it looks like there was some sort of clip on there before, but it looks like someone's had this off before. Look, that's a sort of retaining clip, I would have thought. And get them pipes off, and we'll see you in a second. Right, we've had it off once, but we're going to just try and show you again. So, what did you say there is? A little clip on the top there?
Yeah, I think there's meant to be 2, but the bottom one's broken.
Right, okay. You push that in.
There it goes.
Oh, there we go.
You just turn it clockwise.
Turned it clockwise, and it popped off. Right, that's that one out of the way. We're going to try and do the same to the second one. You may not be able to see it, but you can see them little tabs there. There's a little tab there on the top, and there should be one underneath as well. So that's what we've got to remove by pressing them in and turning it clockwise. Right, okay, so as you can probably see there now, both of the pipes are off of the matrix. Now what we're going to do is we're going to connect a hose up to one of them, turn the cold water on from our tap, and hopefully we should see water gush out the other way. Hopefully we're looking for a blockage. So that's what we're going to do now. Right, when you're ready, right, we've put it in the bottom pipe there, as you can see the hose, so we're hoping to get water come out and flush through the top. Maybe see a blockage, I don't know. Right, well, there's no worries there with flow, as you can see. That's absolutely perfect. So we now know that our heater matrix isn't blocked, so we can put them pipes back on, and maybe it's a cause of our thermostat might be stuck open, keeping the water circulating just around the block and not to the extremities. We've definitely proved that we haven't got a blockage in airflow via the filter, the pollen filter. We haven't got a blockage in circulation. So these pipes again literally just push on. They should be just a push fit. And as you can probably see there, our water level's gone down, so that would have to be filled up again. We're not going to do that yet. Right, so the thermostat lives right in here at the front of the engine there where I'm standing, and this pipe here is one side of the thermostat. So technically speaking, if the thermostat is working, that pipe should get hot. Well, that pipe does get warm actually, so we've had that hot anyway. So we're just going to try and top the system up now and just see if we did have an airlock. We might have had an airlock, so we're going to put some more water in it now, fill it up to the top, run the car, get it up to temperature, and then see what's happened. So we're going to do that now. We'll also check for leaks on them pipes as well. So as you can see, we just started the engine up, it's purged out some of the air, and it's now dropped down the limit. So we're going to fill up again and hopefully get all the air out. As I'm pushing down on that pipe there, you can see it jetting out the top there in the plastic pipe there. So we're going to give it a run around the block. hopefully get it up to a bit of temperature. We'll leave the scuttle panel off because we can feel pipes there, so it's better to have that off, and then we'll come back to you in a second. So we'll see you in a minute. Right, this problem's getting stranger by the minute because I can put my hand on this hose here. That proves the thermostat's open, that's red hot now. Just down there, that hose there is red hot now. And if we go over to the back there, our two pipes coming in and out of our heater matrix. The top one is red hot and the bottom one is red hot. So them pipes are basically red hot now, going to and from the heater matrix. We've got full level up there, and he says it's still pumping out cold air. There's two clips on there, look. Yeah? Them little clips there.
Oh, that.
They might have to come off.
Yeah, because that's warm.
Is it?
Yeah, that's warm.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, we'll just take these two clips off here because them pipes, as I said to you, the other side are red hot. Yeah, they go all the way around, look. That drops off the bottom.
So I'll have to take this side out.
Yeah, we're going to take the other side off as well. Give us a minute and we'll undo these. So the heater matrix in there is for the cooling system. So the heater matrix down here is this box down at the bottom there, which you can't really see. And if you feel that, that's warm. So that means that I think it's a flap issue, which I think the control for the flap is around the other side, where it's not bringing up the flap to allow heat to go through. So we've got to go around the other side now and take the bit of the console off around the other side, and that's what we've just found out. So I think we've also got to take this front fascia off, which is under the steering wheel, and what we're looking for is right up there should be a wheel what opens the flap and turns the flap. So there could be a problem with the gear on that. So we've had to take this front panel off here. As you can see, we've had to take a little side bit off there, and there's two screws hidden under the side there, and then you hopefully should be able to pull that out of the way. Right, that's that out of the way. Now hopefully, looking up here, hopefully you can see up there the white wheel there, which is supposed to turn by what I gather, and that should open the flaps. So just start the engine up, Gary. The ignition. Put the ignition on.
What, running?
Well, try it without. Will the controls work without that?
Yeah.
Right, now shift it from hot to cold.
So that's cold, yeah.
Right, well nothing seems to be moving there. Try the direction ones. Oh, see, that's revolving. Go on, do it again. That's moving stuff. Right, we've gathered that one the other side does the flaps mechanism. We've come back around this side and we've seen this cable hanging down here. Show us, put your finger on the cable, Gary. That cable there, he just found that plug
resting up there.
Resting up there, disconnected in other words. And it's just plugged back in. Where was it plugged into?
This little black box, this unit.
Right, this little black box here is what this cable is just plugged it back into, and that seems to have operated the flap between the hot and cold. So believe it or not, that was the problem. Whether that's been caught up somehow, I'll tell you what. Yeah, listen to this one. See, there's no way that cable can actually get, when the glove box is in place, it's well out of the way. All we can assume is this was one of the Vauxhall Zafiras that got pulled in for the recall, and they had to take the glove box out to get the new connectors on for the. Remember, they caught fire, these Zafiras, through a dodgy connector on the heater side of things. This was done in the summer, so he wouldn't have been using the heater. It's probably been like this for ages, and because it's ultra cold now, we've noticed the problem. So all I'm saying is that wire off was the actual cause of the problem between the damper not opening it from the heater matrix and allowing the hot air to come through, and it looks like that was left off by probably the mechanics, because they're the only ones who have been in here when it was recalled for the dodgy wiring for the connection on the heater matrix. It's probably not been working for a long time. So at least we now know where the heater matrix is. We know these two pipes here are the heater matrix. They're not the ones that you feel when you put your hand in the pollen filter box. There is a radiator in there, but that's for the air conditioning. That's for the cold air. The heater matrix one comes in a lot lower, and them two pipes, which are the other side, coming through here. You saw now we disconnected and flushed them out. That box was actually warm, which indicated there was a problem with the damper. We took the other side off, as you know, over that side. We found the damper wheel that controls the vents up here, So we knew that weren't a problem. And I just happened to say to Gary, go around the other side and see if there's another connector. He come round here and he saw this wire here sitting on that little connector there. It was just hanging in there, and we plugged it back in, and we've now got hot air again. It's operating the damper between the hot and the cold chamber. So that was the problem. This has been left off, and it was probably left off by the mechanics who done the upgrade on the melting cables which these Zafiras suffered from in this area. So it just shows you that not everything's black and white, and sometimes you have to feel your way through, use a bit of logic and come to a conclusion. If I would have gone by what the forums were saying, the next thing would have been to take the thermostat out and order a new thermostat. We didn't go down that road. We've done a few more checks, and that's what we actually eventually found. Fault diagnosis, might have taken it to a garage, and they might have just changed the thermostat and charged you a fortune for doing that as well, and then still not solve the problem. So anyway, I'll leave you with this one. It's not a how-to video, it's what we've come up against and how we've got over it, and it was a bogus fault which wasn't the normal things which you would normally expect. Anyway, thanks very much, see you in the next video, and until then, bye for now.